Lifting as we climb up to that sacred ground, a land that love has found. Lifting as we climb, we got our footing now, we won't be turned around. Lifting as we climb, not a soul left behind. Hands wide, eyes on high, we're lifting as we climb. Lifting as we climb to that sacred ground, a land that love has found. Lifting as we climb, we got our footing now, we won't be turned around. Lifting as we climb, not a soul left behind. Hands wide, eyes on high, lifting as we climb. Lifting as we climb to the sacred ground, and the love has found. Lifting as we climb, we got our footing now, won't be turned around. Lifting as we climb, not a soul left behind. Hands wide, eyes on high, lifting as we climb. Lifting as we climb to the sacred ground that the love has found. Lifting as we climb, we got a footing now, we won't be turned around. Lifting as we climb, not a soul left behind. Hands wide, eyes on high, we're lifting as we climb. Lifting as we climb up to the sacred ground that the love has found. Lifting as we climb, we got our footing now, we won't be turned around. Lifting as we climb, not a soul left behind. Hands wide, eyes on high, we're lifting as we climb. Lifting as we climb up to the sacred ground that the love has found. Lifting as we climb, we got a footing now, won't be turned around. Lifting as we climb, not a soul left behind. Hands wide, eyes on high, as we climb.
If you have ever felt friendless, ever felt forgotten, if you carry a secret pain only the mystery can name, if love is singing like a bird in your heart, if you absolutely cannot wait any longer for the dawn, come, gather, feel, listen, become. Belong here now in this sacred space, made of questions, wrapped in love. Come, let us worship together.
Good morning. I'm Rob Zimmerman, a member of your Board of Trustees. My pronouns are he and him. Welcome to Unitarian Universalist Church West on this gray March morning in Brookfield, Wisconsin. We offer gratitude for the privilege of living and gathering on traditional territory inhabited at various times by the native peoples of the 7 council fires, Ho-Chunk, Kickapoo, Potawatomi, Menominee, Peoria, and Miami nations. So much of the history of this land has been erased or ignored. Well into the 1800s, this land and its resources were stewarded by people who were eventually coerced or forced to move elsewhere. Those of us who are non-natives or their descendants have a duty to learn that history and engage in the work of reconciliation and reparation. As an anti-racist faith community, we also acknowledge that racism throughout our society continues to lead to the violent deaths and oppression of Jews, Black and Indigenous peoples, and other people of color. As a welcoming congregation to gay, lesbian, transgender, bisexual, and queer plus peoples, we continue to address ongoing homophobia, violence, and unfair legislation targeting them. May we engage in the struggle to dismantle white supremacy culture and all forms of oppression in our hearts, in our community, and in our world. It's so good to be together as a loving and evolving community, gathering in and among so many different spaces. We especially note that a substantial part of our gathered community is joining us from their homes, cars, hotel rooms, or other places. Wherever we are physically, our hearts and spirits are one. If you're a newcomer here, I hope you picked up a flyer on the way in that tells you all about what to expect and how to connect. We'd love to have you fill out the welcome side of the yellow paper you received when you entered and hope to see you at the newcomers table in the foyer after the service. And if you're online and want more information, please email us at visitor@uucw.org. There's a time for coffee, tea, and conversation for everyone following the service. Find a comfortable place to hang out, here in the sanctuary, in the community room, in the library, and then challenge yourself to talk to someone you've not yet met. Let's build community together. People of all ages are welcome in our sanctuary. Normally, nursery care and religious education classes for the school-age children and youth take place during the morning service. Those programs are open to both registered and visiting families alike. Today, however, spring break has begun for local schools, and there are no nursery staff or RE teachers here to supervise. But the nursery room itself is open and available for anyone needing that space and able to remain with and supervise their children. Also, here in the sanctuary, our Director of Lifespan Religious Education, Dave, is supervising the worship exploration table during the entire service with quiet activity ideas for anyone and of any age who can benefit from keeping their hands busy while still enjoying worship. And for anyone needing or preferring to leave the sanctuary but not totally disengage, there are self-guided activities in the community room along with our worship services live stream. So I want to highlight a couple of the announcements which you can also find printed in your order of service. Announcement 5, please join us for a conversation on shared ministry starting at 12:30 this afternoon in the community room. There's a potluck lunch ahead of that. You are welcome to join, even if you didn't bring a dish to pass. There's always plenty for everyone. And announcement 7, if there are UUCW members you'd like to nominate for one of our annual awards to be presented at this year's annual meeting in June, please contact Kathy White. We've extended the deadline to the end of March. It really is a privilege to have this once-a-week opportunity to explore and create meaning in the company of others. May this morning's service guide us on the path of truth and love. And now we have something that's not in your order of service. We got this. So I need my able assistant here to come up and do the drawing. So each week throughout our Mission Possible pledge campaign, the stewardship team selects persons at random who've submitted their pledges. Lucky winners will receive a homemade pie from a team member. Mary Hausman was our first winner, and today we are going to select another winner from the most recently received pledges. All right, our winner is winners Sharon and Carl Munson. So the stewardship committee will get in contact with you about your preferred pie flavor. You get to pick your pie. And delivery arrangements. We thank the Munsons and all other members and friends who submitted their pledges in a timely manner. To everyone else, submit your pledge very soon so you may have a chance to win a scrumptious pie.
Good morning. My name is Eddie Daniel, and my pronouns are he and him. As a member of the worship ministry team, it is my pleasure to be leading today's service. I'm delighted to welcome back to our pulpit the Rev Beth Monhollen. She is originally from Eastern Kentucky, but lived in Milwaukee for over 35 years. She was ordained into UU ministry in June of 2023, and in August she began serving as the lead minister of the UU Church of Urbana-Champaign in Illinois. She has been here twice before to speak with us, and it is a pleasure to have you back. And now, please stand in body or in spirit as we sing hymn number 1053, How Could Anyone? There we go. Hey, it has a little light. Sorry. So when we get together, we light a chalice as a symbol of our faith. We invite those of you who are joining us from home to light a similar flame. The words of the chalice lighting today come from the Reverend Juniper Meadows. Please join in saying the words printed in the order of service. We light this chalice not in opposition to the darkness of the days, but so we may be bathed in this light of reason, this warmth of community, this fire of commitment. May it be as a village bonfire, a beacon in the darkness for all travelers, all seekers, all who wander in the dark and the cold, all who would bow their heads as a new day is born.
Good morning. I'm Dave Cicero, Director of Lifespan Religious Education here at UU Church West. And there are some front row seats if anybody wants a closer look at some of the pictures. There's a blanket and some cushions on the floor here. My pronouns are he and his. And today's worship service is about the gifts that the dark can bring to us, if we're open to it. Some of the quiet activities we have over at the exploration table involve seeds that will soon want to seek out light. But until it warms up a bit outside, they'll be happy resting in some more dark ground. Now, the story I'm sharing today is called The Rabbit, the Dark, and the Cookie Tin by Nicola O'Byrne. Read today with permission of Candlewick Press and their imprint, Nosy Crow. Once upon a time, there was a rabbit who didn't want to go to sleep. "Oh no," squeaked Rabbit when it started to get dark. I'm not tired, and I don't want to go to bed. Then a bright idea popped into his head. I don't want to go to bed, said Rabbit, and if it doesn't get dark, I don't have to. So Rabbit found a cookie tin. There was just one cookie left. Then he went outside to find the dark. The dark was not hard to find. Excuse me, would you like a cookie? Asked Rabbit. Don't mind if I do, said the dark. And then, snap! Rabbit trapped the dark inside the cookie tin and sat on it. That wasn't very polite, Rabbit, said the dark from inside the tin. I'm sorry, but I'm not tired and I don't want to go to bed, said Rabbit. Now I can stay up all night because it's not dark. But many animals need me, said the dark. They don't like the sun. When you're getting ready for bed, they're just getting up. Really? Asked Rabbit. Like who? Well, the bats squeaked, and the owls hooted, and the fox cubs all whispered, Us! I don't care, said Rabbit. And he took the tin back inside. Please let me out of the tin. The animals need me, said the dark. No, I'm not tired, and I don't want to go to bed. And it's not dark, so I don't have to, said Rabbit. I'm hungry, though. What about having some breakfast? Asked the dark. It's your favorite meal, but you can't eat breakfast unless you've gone to bed. Oh, said Rabbit. I do like toast with honey and fresh orange juice. But I like carrots most of all, and I can eat carrots anytime. And if you let me out of the tin, you can have carrots and toast and honey and fresh orange juice, said the dark. I don't care, said Rabbit. I won't go to bed. Are you getting grumpy, Rabbit? No, I am not, said Rabbit grumpily. I think you are, said the dark. That's what happens when you don't sleep. I'm not tired, said Rabbit, and he stormed out of the house. Outside it was hot. Rabbit was hot. Everything was too hot. Oh no, my carrots. They're wilting, said Rabbit. What should I do? See, said the dark. Carrots need me too. Rabbit looked at the cookie tin. Go on, Rabbit. Open the tin, said the dark. I want to show you how wonderful I can be. Rabbit thought about his carrots, and the bats, and the owls, and the fox, and he carefully opened the tin. Wow, said Rabbit. The dark can be so beautiful. And it's the perfect time for bedtime stories, said the dark, as Rabbit climbed into his bed. Once upon a time, there was a rabbit who didn't want to go to sleep. And soon enough, Rabbit was fast asleep. Sometimes it's hard to give in to the darkness, to accept that the day is over, it's time to sleep. I'm one of those people that love sleeping, but I also struggle with calling it a day, calling it quits and saying good night. Now, darkness can also be a place we don't really know much about, or it can be a sad time, or a time when not a lot seems to be going on. It's ironic then that there could be sweet rewards for those of us brave enough to embrace and value it. So let's sing together about that. Please rise as you are able to join in singing How Sweet the Darkness, which is hymn number 1055, their teal-colored hymnal, Singing the Journey. Number 1055.
Thank you for that music, everyone. I would like to invite us this morning for just a few minutes into a time of stillness and quiet. I want to offer to you just a brief spoken meditation. I'll follow it by some silence, and then we'll end that silence by the ringing of our singing bowl. We'll actually begin the silence that way as well. So wherever you are this morning, here in this room, joining us online, in all those places that Rob mentioned that you might be through the power of the internet, wherever you are, I want you to take a deep breath with me. And take another. And one more as you fill your body with that breath that connects us to all life. Fill your body with that air. Feel it from the crown of your head to the very soles of your feet. Feel the divine move in your soul here in this room, in all the rooms you are, into your body. Keep breathing with me. Breathe with me as you welcome in all the cries of pain that echo across this world this morning, that echo into your bones here in your body. Breathe with me as you feel the call and pull and tug of justice in your hands this morning, pulling you to the work that is yours and yours to do. Breathe with me and feel divine love in the breath that is moving through you in your body, and know that what that divine breath is holding is all that you are, all the whole and holy pieces of you individually, you collectively as a community. Breathe with me. Breathe. And let your breath for a moment center you and take you into stillness.
We enter now into our time of sharing joys and sorrows, our way that we express through ritual the many ways that we touch and are touched by each other. In a moment, you'll be invited to come to the mic to share your joy or concern. If you have something you'd rather not share aloud, you can use the QR code in the order of service, or the share side of the yellow slip that you received when you entered, to put something in writing. Raise your hand if you need a writing implement. For those of you at home, and for anyone at other times during the week, you can use the link in our weekly e-news to let us know what's going on in your lives and in your heart. Remember that what you share today is only for the ears of those gathered now. It will not be posted in the posted video of the service or in the shared e-news. So come to the mic to speak, or raise your hand and an usher will bring you a mic. I'll light a candle for you, and after each sharing, I invite you to respond with me. We hold you in love. You're welcome to line up over here as you wish. And finally, I light one last candle for those joys and concerns that are not shared with us today, but held deep in our hearts. We hold you in love.
Good morning. My name is Beth Zaretsky. My pronouns are she and hers. Our reading today is Because It Is Dark by Rosemary Watola Tromer. Because it is dark, I walk in the dark, walk with the moon, walk with the chill of the measureless dark. There is peace that comes from letting the self be with the world as it is. And tonight, it's a dark world. A world where I cannot see far ahead, a world of silhouette and suggestion, a world that seems to cherish whispers and relish mystery, a world where the invitation is to walk in the dark, without wishing it away, without championing its opposite. The invitation is to be one who learns how to live in the dark.
First, thank you again for that music. I almost cried. It was so beautiful. Good morning, folks. It is a pleasure to be with you again. The last time I was here, I was still in seminary, which feels like 200 years ago. It was really only like maybe a year and a half ago. And it's nice to be home, which the Milwaukee area rather is for me. And I want to tell you a little story of a different home for me. When I was 5 years old, I went to live with my maternal grandparents so that I could attend kindergarten. We lived in southeastern Kentucky, out in the woods on a gravel road, and late one fall morning, I clearly remember my grandmother waking me up for school. And as she shook me awake, I sat up and looked around in confusion. See, the room we slept in had a door that opened onto the porch, and because it had been unseasonably warm, my grandmother had the door open, and I could see outside, and it looked dark as night. And so I remember asking her, "Why do I have to get up for school if it's still nighttime?" And she said, "Oh, honey, no, it's morning. It just looks dark because it's so light in here." And she reached over and turned off the bedside lamp, and we were plunged into darkness. But like magic, what had appeared pitch black outside was suddenly filled with gray, soft light. And I could see the shapes of the trees and the outline of the well from where we drew water. And I gasped as my grandmother said, "See, it is light out there." And then she turned the light back on. And I blinked at the sudden brightness because like magic, once again, all the light that had suddenly been outside flooded back in. And I said, "Do it again." And I grabbed her hand, and she laughed and held on to me and turned the light off and on. For what seemed like hours, it was honestly probably only a couple of minutes. But we held each other's hands and delighted in the wonder and magic of watching the light and the dark dance back and forth across the door's threshold. I was never a kid who was afraid of the dark, even before that. Oh, but after that moment, I began to revel in the darkness. I loved staying up late and watching the phases of the moon rise across the mountains, or seeing the millions of stars when the moon was new and the dark was deepest. I loved the quiet sounds that came from the trees at night. And even after we moved to Milwaukee and I was a city teenager, I would stay up late just so I could experience the quiet stillness that would come over a busy city street in the relative quiet of 3 a.m. And I want to be clear with you, I was not so naive even as a kid that I didn't know that there were scary, bad things that can happen in the dark. It's just that I also knew from painful experience that there are bad things that happen in the daylight too. And the night held so much wonder and magic alongside whatever monsters it hid that I couldn't hold the monsters against it. And I think it was because of that I never quite fully grasped our Western tendency, born as it is out of binary thinking, to lump everything that was good into light and everything that was bad into dark. I just didn't experience it that way. And this is why I think I resonated with Eastern philosophies when I was introduced to them in high school. The concept of the balance of light and dark, found in the image of a yin-yang, the balance of life and destruction that's embodied in the Hindu goddess Kali Ma, And later in college, when I was introduced to pagan and indigenous belief systems that celebrate and honor the cycle of birth and death and rebirth as just natural parts of who we are, these all spoke to a deep, dark yearning in my own heart that my early religious beliefs just could never quite fulfill. I needed then, as I think so many of us still do, what my 5-year-old self marveled at. The soul-stirring affirmation that light and dark are in a dance together, and we people are part of that dance. And it's hard, though, in our cultural context here in America, which are so infused with redemptive suffering theologies that we've inherited from Christianity, to talk about gifts of the dark without making it sound as if we are praising the monsters that live there, praising the pain we find there. And we progressive religious people who seek more liberatory spiritualities, we need to be careful when we speak of the dark that we don't fall into the trap of equating it with evil or of ever implying that any pain we experience is somehow good for us. Because I do not for one moment believe that pain and suffering are sacred or holy or that they make us stronger. They do not. I believe it is being loved through our suffering and in being held through our struggles that we survive and begin to thrive. And that sense of being held and thriving is actually a gift that the dark has given me. Because I have known grief, and perhaps you have as well, grief that has felt like a suffocating weight through which I cannot see or breathe. But I have also known grief that is as sharp and unrelenting as a midday sun in summer when you long for a cool shade, as harsh as this winter light shining off of snow that makes you long for just quiet, dark, and the embrace of a loved one. I have known fear, and perhaps you do too right now. For the sake of this world, there are conflicts raging. People dying, people going hungry, all over the planet and here in our own communities, and we can feel as if that kind of darkness is unbeatable. We can feel as if it is death itself. But darkness and death, like Kali Ma, the goddess, are a cycle. And I believe that the injustices and the horrors of this world are only one part of the story. And it is up to us as people of faith to be in community and to tell the whole story. And part of that wholeness is that the dark brings wonder and mystery. It brings us ease and rest. It brings us what Rabbit discovered in the story David shared. Wholeness for all creatures. It brings us comfort in our grieving, wounded hearts, stillness from the noise and busyness our minds contend with, and despite all the details of living that our bodies must attend to, darkness offers us that slice of stillness that we need. And it is in that stillness and rest that our spirits can be renewed and open to the wonder and miracles that are our birthright. A gift we can claim from the darkness is the notion that, just as David said, that like a seed needs light to grow, it also needs the dark, nurturing soil of the earth so it can take root, so it can make connections that enables it to reach towards the light when it is time for the dance to turn in that direction. We need that in community. I believe it is why we come together, because alone, both the dark and the light are too much for us to bear. It is in our connections, in the light and in the dark, that we are sustained. My grandmother has actually been dead now for over a decade. But I swear to you, sometimes in my heaviest moments, I can hear her voice as if she is right beside me. And when I close my eyes, I can still feel her hand in mine as if I was that 5-year-old again. And I am rooted and connected to my grandmother in abiding love and a sense of rootedness that has blossomed into constellations of connections and relationships that call me over and over again to seek wonder, that remind me over and over again that I am not alone. That is a gift the darkness can offer to any of us. The promise that no matter where we are in this life, no matter how heavy our sorrows, no matter how deep and resonant our joys, we are connected and interconnected in life. It is our interdependence and mutuality, core values for us as Unitarian Universalists, that let us thrive. And so the prayer that I hold for all of us each and every day, but especially in this springtime, as the days start to get longer, as we welcome the warmth that will inevitably come in the Midwest spring, that we remember to slow down, that we remember to pause and not rush into those daylight times, not rush through whatever moment we might be in. This spring is bringing us also another election cycle. And I don't know about you, but I have a lot of fear for what these coming months will bring to our country and to our world. And it is in stillness and quiet, in the dark, nurturing soil of community, that those fears are acknowledged as real and valid, but again, not the whole story. And so may we trust that no matter what this spring, no matter what this year brings to us, that there is real, thriving life being nurtured in the dark soil of the earth and in the dark, hopeful places of our own spirits. Even as we carry grief, even as we carry worries, we also carry the seeds of connection that whisper to us, here is home. This is love. May it be so, and amen.
One way that UUCW helps address human needs and advance social justice in our community is through our Split the Plate program. Each month, we give half of all undesignated offerings to a nonprofit organization to help us live our Unitarian Universalist values and serve our community. Our Split the Plate partner for March is Courage MKE. This nonprofit operates Courage House, which is Wisconsin's first licensed group home for displaced LGBTQ+ youth. It is located on Milwaukee's south side. As of late 2023, they are working to open their second location, the C2 Apartments, just a few minutes from Courage House. 40% of homeless young adults identify as LGBTQ+, and many of them age out of the foster care system without continued support. At both locations, Courage Milwaukee's unique model will provide the residents with emotional and physical support as they obtain a degree or enter the workforce. Courage MKE's trauma-informed philosophy is built into their program and incorporated into all day-to-day activities. They believe that in order for their residents to heal from trauma, they must have a safe, affirming home first. They are committed to supporting all aspects of their identities, including gender, sexual orientation, and race. To help support Courage MKE, go to the UUCW website Donate tab and select Split the Plate from the menu, or text or mail your donation today using the information found on the screen. Today, I thank you for your generosity to Courage MKE. We will now gratefully receive your offering. Please join me in the words of dedication of the offering. To the work of this community, which is to ground ourselves in love and joy, and to act for inclusion and justice, we dedicate ourselves in these our offerings.
Our closing words today come from the Reverend Jan Richardson. This is what I can ask for you, that in the darkness there be a blessing, that in the shadows there be a welcome, that in the night you be encompassed by the love that knows your name. Let us go in peace.